So as everybody knows, there's a countdown, and I was counting down how my daughter is counting. So like now she raises 5 fingers and she goes, "That's 10." I'm like, "Nope, we're working on it." Anyway, welcome to Interesting as Fuck. We are your
Yay.
illustrious hosts, Linda and Elaine. And we sound obviously sick, as we will probably until April or May, given that our kids cough directly in our faces, and that has consequences.
Down our
Um,
throats. Eyeballs.
Down eyeballs, throats, licking stuff. It's real bad, guys. It's real bad.
He's upstairs. He's in your closet. Okay.
And so
Sorry.
we are here today because we have our doc is in, and today we have a very I'm using the word caper because I feel like that's the most appropriate term
That's a
of it.
good term.
It was
That
a
is a good term.
caper. And it was the Spiderman of Paris, which is on Netflix. So, very easily accessible if you have that. It was released last year. And I'm not going to say his name appropriately. So, Vjeran Tomic, the Spider-Man of Paris.
He goes, Vjeran Tomic was the way I think I said
Tomic. Okay.
it. Because I believe he's Bosnian and Croatian
Yes.
by birth, and then ended up in Paris through. But we'll chat about all that.
Yeah, and so this movie, just as FYI, was released 2023 on Netflix. Director is Jamie Roberts. It's about an hour and 25 minutes, something like that.
It's like the perfect
And
one, like
it's
beginning,
like,
middle,
yeah,
end.
it was just, again, like Elaine always picks like the greatest paced documentaries. And it has an 86 Rotten Tomatoes rating, so very highly rated. And so I think this is starting to get into the niche thing of, if you like art and if you like, kind of the Ocean's 11 and the capers and the heists and the morally gray characters of that sort. I feel like the ones that we've seen so far, it's been pretty kind of marked in like black and white, who the bad guy was and who the good guy was, or whomever. But this one, we're starting to get into some morally gray-ishness. And I'll let Elaine take over, but I, obviously have the what the fuck meter and have seen I've seen it, but I'll let you go ahead and take
Sure.
over here. I think I got the lay of the documentary, and here we go for our little discussion.
Yeah. So we came to this one because, I'd like to say I wasn't going to like surprise you with what's next, but that's just not true. So after we watched Man on Wire, we were during our discussion, it came to the Spider-Man in Paris and then our follow-up from here. So we seemed to be on a little bit of a track, but yeah, so I rewatched this one on a flight home, and like you said, it's like the perfect length. I'm so glad you brought up the gray area because both times I remember kind of being like, yeah, if this guy had
But
just channeled his energy and his smarts and his and his world interest and his interest in art into something helpful, like I certainly would like the guy a little bit more, but at the same time you're like kind of rooting for him, but he also is like clearly violating people by he specifically says he likes to enter homes when people are home because then he knew the alarm was off, so he would come in when people were asleep, and that's fucking terrifying. Like that is absolutely
terrifying.
fucking terrifying. So yeah, there's this like weird, I don't know, this weird emotion of like you kind of like the guy, but he's
Does it
made a good.
remind you? Does it remind you of something currently happening? Maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? Um,
And I think that's the thing with. I think you identify with him a little bit because not you identify with him, but you can see where things can go off the rails for somebody,
Right.
right? Like he's very clear as to like his parents taught him nothing. It's like very like he tried to go into the army. He tried to figure something out. But like after that, there weren't opportunities for somebody like him. So he was like, I knew how to do this and I knew how to figure this out. And I knew how to channel my energies into something that would allow me to survive.
Right.
Um, and and I think that's like the concept of even the title, because Spider-Man isn't a bad guy,
Is a superhero.
but
Right.
he's viewed as a bad guy by police. Like even the name, you're
Right.
kind of like,
It's a
I
really
don't
good
think
point.
I'm like, I don't think this is the right. You already see
Yeah.
kind of, the Peter Parker aspect of it, of, family members that like kind of like leave you. I mean, even, he doesn't have an Aunt May or anything, but still. And I think what I was struck with the most is the concept of him not having community. Like in the
Yep.
move, like in the documentary, you see him as a loner and you see that he gets just mixed up with the wrong people. Also, what the fuck? Like Modern Museum of Paris, like you leave the screws in the fucking like windowsill. Do not. It's like I'm not even a modern art person, and I'm like, this is a travesty.
Yeah. I first of all, I agree with everything you said. I want to sit on a windowsill with a bottle of wine and a baguette like a homeless person at the Museum of Modern Art. That's what I want to do. Like I saw
You
him
know
do it
what?
and I was like, shit, I want to do
I
that.
know. I was like, why have I never done that? I was
Right?
like, the fucking idiot.
But also like you have to lack particular one emotion or several emotions to do what he did. Also, like, I wish I had the ovaries to like get up on the rooftops of Paris like he did because how fucking cool would that have been? Like, I want to ratatouille that shit. Like, you're standing on top of like a rooftop overlooking the Seine from the tower and like all the beautiful, like, I love Paris. There is absolutely like, you and I have both been to Paris several times. We are lucky enough to have traveled there several times. Like, I fucking love that city so much. Um, so I wish I had like, you know, the bravery to but you have to be lacking certain emotions for sure, right? Like, um,
Like a sense
I
of
think
right and wrong, maybe.
yes, there's that. There's that. But also at the end when they introduce us to his girlfriend, of course, because the world is a fucked up place. Um, she says like it turns out like it wasn't even necessarily like the stealing, it's the fact that he likes to it's hardcore parkour and he likes the thrill and the like that's what gives him life, right? So maybe, even if he's still kind of trespassing and doing some weird parkour shit, as long as he's not stealing works of art. But this did become the largest art heist in France's history, which is crazy. What I think should have happened is someone should have employed him, a bank, a museum, like start a contracting business or consulting business to be like, I will come and I will break into your museum. I promise I will not take anything, but I will break in to show you where your weaknesses are. Like he could make a fuck ton of money doing
But I
that.
think but I think look at this. It's the difference between the movie Catch Me If
Yeah.
You Can, and this one. One is European, one is American. Americans no, and it's not a dig. It's the
Oh,
way
I know.
people think. People don't think in Europe about that things that way.
Capitalism.
They
Like how do I
I
make a buck
don't
off?
I don't think it's even capitalism. I think it's the concept of making your system better. And
Yeah.
yeah, money is part of it because you sell your services and that matters. But they don't go, what can we like Europeans don't go, how can we improve things? Like I'm
Mm.
gonna be hardcore policy idiot here. But like speaking of Paris, the French government, almost I mean, it didn't almost collapse, but it did collapse because the prime minister got voted out.
Yep.
And now the current president has brought in a very old player in politics when technically he should bring in a new player to like bring in new life around the concept.
Right.
And I
Right.
think it's the concept of not thinking about things in an entrepreneurial fashion, yes, but also about improving your systems because in Europe there's kind of this arrogance that we know better. This is done. I mean, you left priceless works of art behind
Mhm.
windows that somebody randomly opened. And he was sitting there for days on end,
Days,
unscrewing and
hours, time.
hours. And you didn't have a camera to see this. You
TV?
didn't have TV. Like, do you know what I mean? They're like, no, this isn't going to happen because we're fine. Like, nobody wants to do this. So, like,
Until they
it's until they do, and I think that's the concept. And I don't mean this like again, I don't mean this in like a derogatory way. I more mean this as like understanding the systems of how they are. And like usually and the US has this like uncanny ability to try to make itself better, obviously, excluding
sometimes.
certain events. You got to go
Sometimes.
backwards sometimes to go about forwards, I guess. But um,
God,
you know, I think there are these kind of like small things that you see that like try to push things better. I don't think the Europeans have that as like a part of their culture as much because they're like, we don't want to move up socially. We don't want to do this. We don't want to like, people are content with their lives, you know? So I think there's that. They believe about their space in life, and their space
yeah.
in life is what it is, and it's stagnant for them. They don't see movement. And I think
And it's
that's
worked for hundreds of years before we were even a
100
country. So
exactly.
I could see that.
Yeah, so I think that's the concept of it. Um, but yeah, I think he could still do that now. I mean, he's still, even
Right?
though he's still in jail, right?
No, no. Remember he gets freed at the end and then
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he spent 7 years, 8 years?
7 years. Yeah, 7 years was yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. Um, and
Because he finally
so
and
they've never found the art, like they've never found the pieces, right? Because somebody says they
no.
burned them.
So the young guy, Jonathan, I always want to say Bain, or Bein. So I always want to say Bane, but that's not the way they say it. The young guy is the one who said that he, in like a panic about it,
Mm.
destroyed the art, but I don't think anyone believes him. Like
Yeah,
even the Cortez piece of shit who like at the end when he's
piece
like,
of
"Do you want
shit.
me?" It's just like, "Don't threaten me. You're the asshole." Like you
He's the
he's like,
bad guy.
"My time," and you're like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." Um like how you going to do something like that and then not expect to be asked about it? Like relax. Um Yeah, I don't think anyone believes that he
It's probably in somebody's private collection.
yeah,
No
which is like
way. Go
God.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, these will be interesting, like, to keep in the back of your mind for what we're doing after this.
Yeah. I don't think the Corvez guy is like, how do you say that? Was his like
Or
it's not him.
Corvez. Yes, so
Corvez
wrong.
is
Corvez.
like the guy. This was
Mm-mm.
pushed by somebody else. Yeah, there's like somebody who's super
Levels.
rich. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um and so I guess that's the thing. Eventually we'll find them. I think eventually they'll come out. But
I hope so.
yeah. Damn. But this
I
one,
love a good art heist, like, I really do. I love a good I mean, I obviously don't love the fact that it was stolen, but I think, like, I'm so intrigued by them and to hear it from the person who did it. And like I think one of the reasons it's easy to like this guy is because like he clearly knows exactly who he is. Like we talked about him being a loner, we talk about him not having community, but goddamn if he doesn't know exactly what he likes, exactly what he needs. Like even the way he talks about like hiring prostitutes or just going to peep shows, like he's just like it's just what I wanted to see in the moment. Like
yeah, I think that's the concept. Like he has this like very like rational amount of self-awareness. And I think like it's always the choice of what you decide to do. You either decide to lie to yourself or you decide not to. And I think this guy just decided not to lie to himself. He's like, this is what it is.
Yeah. Nor
And
should he.
in order to survive, I'm gonna be radically honest with myself, and that's gonna be okay.
Also, I'm gonna totally self-correct. I used the word prostitute when I should be using the word sex worker, and so I apologize.
Ah, yes.
I would like
Yes,
to
yes.
input that I meant sex worker at that moment.
Yeah. Because that's the term we're supposed to use, right? Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Good to know. I think I still use the inappropriate term. So, but
See?
again,
We're learning every day. We
also
learn every
please correct us. Send us an email
Be nice
or
about it, though. We're trying our best.
you know what? Even if you're not nice about it, we'll be nice about it.
We'll try to
We'll
take
be
the
nice.
high road.
We um also I'm remembering our conversation before we started recording, which was definitely not the high road.
'Cause, well,
Was it the
first
underground
off,
road? I feel like it was the underground.
it was like the mile below the ground mine shaft.
Oh yeah, we were really near to the center of the earth. There's a lot of
Liquid hot
fire.
magma.
Yeah, there's a lot of fire and heat there. And so I don't think I can say that we'll be nice about it with a straight face. It's going to
No,
depend on our moods. It's going to depend on our
that's very true.
but again, but seriously, we're trying, we'll learn, we'll make
Yes.
mistakes and then we'll get there all together. Always remember it's about intent.
Yes.
Yeah, I and also like what struck me about him is his confidence. Like there's a
Yeah.
the cockiness there. You're like, the guy's not attractive like at all, not to make it like, but you're like, hi. Like you're like,
Right? It's all
okay.
about how you carry yourself. It's all
Yeah,
about how you
it's all and I think this goes back to like the concept of like a fake it till you make it. Cause this,
right?
like, like, no, who's to tell you you're not great? Like this guy is like in the middle of this like massive art heist. And he's still like, yeah, man, this is this is what it is.
And
I
I love that he's like, "I could go back and get more, but my pants split, so I figured that
yeah.
was fine." The, like, 5 was enough. Like,
Yeah, I'm
5?
gonna sort of
He was like, "I saw that one, I wanted it. I saw that one, I wanted it. I saw the one next to it, I wanted it." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, man." Like, what were they doing? There were magnet doors and screwdrivers and
like
oof.
and this wasn't like too like it wasn't like 50 years ago. This was in
No.
2010.
Yeah.
2010. Also, by the
Mm.
way, bullshit that he could not sell these pieces. Bullshit.
Oh, mm-mm.
Bull fucking shit. These are like people would kill over these pieces.
And
Kill.
maybe someone did.
Probably.
Just
Uh
saying.
probably. But I find it interesting that he, this all got him down because he tried to steal again.
Yeah, yeah,
He got
yeah.
caught and he was like, I need money and I need
I also love well, because Corvez didn't pay him,
exactly. But like that's what
right?
I mean. Like I find it bullshit that
Yeah.
you couldn't sell those pieces for
Oh, yeah,
millions
yeah,
and then
of
this
course.
guy didn't get money. Like fuck off.
No, no. I also loved, some of the residents of the 7th arrondissement who were on there, like the art collectors and stuff. The one woman who, was talking about how violating it felt and all of that, and then the other art collector who he's like, "This means nothing to me. There's no value to any of this because I love it." Like, and there's one piece of artwork that he had that Vjeran had taken and he got it back, but he looks at the camera and he goes, "You come back to my house, take whatever you want. Just don't take this one." And I'm like, God damn if I feel like Vjeran would then go back to that house because
And just steal.
sh like maybe like don't even like it's like you said, an hour and 25 minutes. I feel like you get to know a lot of these people really well
Yeah.
because you're hearing from them directly. But if he were to go back to that house, I feel like he would take a bunch of shit and actually leave the one he said not to, and then the guy because then he's
Yes.
like, "You can't get mad at me. He told me to come back. He told me to take whatever I wanted, just not that one. So that's
Yeah,
what I did."
exactly. And
Like, I can't be mad at him either.
yeah, it's like this really weird like concept of how are people oddly attached to things? Because I mean, let's be honest, most likely those people had insurance and all those things were
Oh,
insured.
yeah. Oh god, I hope so.
But, I think the guy going, "You can steal whatever you want." It's like, again, like a weird sense of self-awareness. And
Yeah,
like, it's interesting, like, that he didn't I'm wondering if like the violation comments like around yeah, because he's like um
yeah, they're sleeping, like, they're
yeah,
there.
they're there and I think the concept of that, and I mean maybe I'm psychoanalyzing this, but like it's him having a lack of like home.
Yeah, maybe.
So he wants to be part of that in like this weird fucked up way.
Hmm, that's interesting.
Um and I'm wondering if like that's why. Like that's why he did
Or he
it.
just didn't wanna be in the place where he resided at night and
Maybe.
alone,
Yeah.
because at one point he does say, like, "Corvez only paid me 40,000 euro as opposed to 250,000 euro that he owed me, so I was fucking stuck in Paris." Like, he sounded pissed about it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, sounds like he didn't wanna be there anyway, but for someone like him, like, where do you wanna be? I don't know. And
Yeah,
that's a
and,
question.
like yeah, because where are you gonna go? You're gonna go and steal somewhere else, like, it's gonna be the
Right.
same problems, right? Like, yeah, it's just yeah, it was just yeah, I think I came out of this with, like, 2 thoughts. One is that he just lacked community, and so when you lack community, you lack a lot of different concepts of how you, like, deal with the world. And then 2, the fact that, and then I lost my second point.
It's the story of our
Oh, yeah.
lives.
Yeah, the morally gray aspect of how I didn't I knew he did something wrong, but I didn't go
Mhm.
there like, I didn't walk
You were
out
mad at
go
him.
I
Yeah,
wasn't mad at him, and, like, I
I
love
know.
art, and the fact that we can't find these pieces pisses me off, but,
Mhm.
like, he's not the bad guy. Like, clearly who the bad guy is, like, that
He's
all
a
his
bad guy,
he's a
but he's
bad
not
guy,
the
but not the bad guy. Like, he did a bad thing.
Yes. Well, and that's another thing I think actually, like, to your point about him not having community, I think benefited the police because when he found out that Corvez was also in police custody, he was like, "Fuck that guy. I'll tell him everything." You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, what does he really have to lose?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people would probably go into some self-protectionist mode because they don't wanna go to prison, but he's kinda like, "I bet I can get a better deal." Like, this guy's
Yeah.
not dumb. This guy is not
Yeah,
dumb. He's a very
not
smart
done. He's
person.
very smart. I mean,
So
think about the thought process to go, "I'm going to check out if the screws in this like, that so what the fuck meter was that for me? That scene where he's like, "I
Yep.
found out that in the windows, I could remove the screws." And you're like,
And how
"What?"
would you know that was gonna be like an accordion, as opposed to like I guess you don't want those
Those are the
bars.
windows, I think, in, like in Paris, maybe? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
and you
know,
probably
like,
don't want
I'm
bars like that, like we see in Washington, DC, like, on a museum, right? But, like, yeah, I guess, I don't know. That's
also,
wild.
why wasn't there like an Ocean's, like, what was it, 12 type of thing? Where the one where it's like La Tour does that weird like parkour not parkour, but
Yeah,
like the weird
yeah.
like, which by the way, it was like best song ever to like a scene ever where he's like just I don't know what he's doing through those red
Yeah.
lines. Um and yeah, insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the what the fuck meter for me. That was like I was an
Okay.
8. It was an 8.
Alright, there it is.
'Cause I'm
Marking
like,
it down.
It's 2010. Why isn't there an audio alarm to the fucking windows if somebody
Anything,
fucking opens them?
like anything. There was nothing.
Every 2 hours, like, what?
2 hours.
God, the French really don't wanna work anymore. Oh, I
Bet that's
saw
for now.
yeah, I saw a story that came up the other day where it says, "Oh, American board members don't fulfill their responsibilities," and I was like, "Nobody wants to work anymore, even board members."
To be
Um,
fair, all I wanna do is sit on boards one day.
Same, so I do nothing and get paid. That's the
Right.
dream.
Like, do you aye, nay, abstain,
I have
give me
great
numbers.
judgment. I make
Yeah,
great judgments,
look at
like
this what
snap
the
decisions.
fuckers.
Yeah, it's just like snap decisions. I make decisions all the time. I can do it
I love it.
well-ish. Yeah, I can save American corporations. We can do it together, Elaine.
Done. Let's do
We
it.
can we can save corporate America because it clearly needs saving.
It does. But before we do that, we have to watch our next documentary.
Clearly, and then talk about our next episode.
So
So,
here's a question for you. So
yes.
it's a 4-part on Netflix
Yeah.
from I think also a year, maybe 2 years. This is during COVID, so maybe 2, 3 years
Okay.
ago. Um, do we want to watch all four? Do we split it into two and two? I don't think we need to do it after every episode.
Yeah. What it's the
What do you think about it?
heist, right?
It's
What is
another
it called?
heist.
Yeah, but what's it called? I forgot. You told me and I
It's
forgot.
called it's called This Is a Robbery.
Yes.
It
Okay. So
is
I'm gonna watch it with my dad who's here. I think
okay.
he's gonna like that.
So this
Um,
is I'm happy to explain the case.
yes, please
It is
go.
very much in line with this. We will move from France's greatest art heist to America's biggest art heist. It is to me one of the most fascinating stories of all time. It is in my favorite museum in the entire on the entire planet. It is the 1990 St. Patrick's Day robbery of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston. Um, I won't give more than that because like I already have goosebumps in what I was going to follow it up with, but we will wait
Same.
until people watch. Um,
Uh,
it is very very good. There was a movie, there was a documentary made about it back in like 2004 before people were like really putting money behind documentary productions
yeah.
that I think was called like The Art of the Heist, which was just a
Yes.
very basic, maybe, you know, like a very basic
It-
storytelling of it. This is next level.
the art
So,
of the heist. I remember that one. That was good.
yeah, it was good. This is a totally different level.
And then so this one has 4 episodes.
Yep.
It was
Each is
released in
about an
20
hour.
Yeah, it was released in 2021. So I think maybe we do two I like the 2 episodes,
Sure.
2 2.
Part 1, part
Um
2.
yeah, exactly. So the first 2, so make sure you watch the Looked Like Cops and Vipers in the Grass. Those are the first 2, so that we will have a regular episode next week and then we'll do the doc is in and then we'll do the doc is in and then another episode and then or maybe we double up the doc is in this time.
Sure.
Let's do that. Let's double up.
Love it.
So next week we'll talk about, and this is the topic that we chose, and it's called the third place. And third place is a concept of how in the 70s and 80s, it's a book. I forgot the author, but essentially, most people they went to home, they went to the office, and then they went to the third place. So that usually was a bar, the library, a community center where people kind of created a sense of community. And in the last few years, we've started to lose the third place. And I think we're going to have a discussion about, how to cultivate it, how to find one, and how to really look at creating your own if you need to. So next week, that's what we'll do, and then the following 2 weeks, we'll do the this awesome This Is a Robbery. I'm actually really excited about this one, and also good for the U.S. that it was in the 90s as opposed to 2010. Um, and
But you'll see some
re-
similarities between
yeah,
your thoughts on this one and the
I,
next one, for
I
sure.
bet. And so just few facts before we close. It has an 86%.
Oof,
Um,
should be high.
yeah,
That's just me.
yeah, it's at 83. Sorry, 83. It's even lower. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes because there's like people and then there's the critics one, right? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so
I always feel
wh-
like average tomato meter as opposed to the
okay,
popcorn is the one I'm
okay, so
always reading.
the popcorn is even lower, which I feel like
That's
is weird.
upsetting. Also,
So
this
it's
says
eight.
the world's biggest art heist, so
Oh yeah,
even
it was the biggest.
just throwing
Well
that out
then,
there.
oh yeah, Vermeer and
I'm digging.
stuff. Oof. Oh yeah, Rembrandt, Vermeer. Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
I guess with modern art, it's not as old.
It's true.
Um,
But also, I think the amount of pieces that were taken
Probably. Yeah.
and the pieces that were taken.
All
We'll
right.
talk about
Well,
that.
that's our next up. That's our next documentary, which I'm really excited about. 4 parts.
Me
So,
too.
um, as a reminder, we'll do that. For the next, we'll do the third place for the next episode, and then after that, we'll do this is a robbery. Doc is in for twice. Um, and yeah, well, thank you all for joining us on this Doc is in. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Again, our email is open. If you have any comments, suggestions, concerns, feel free to email us
Correction.
or corrections. Yeah, we're happy with corrections. We also are, human and can err, but to forgive is divine. And on that note, thank you all for joining us on Interesting as Fuck. And Elaine, I'll let you close us out.
Stay interested, everyone.